It's Tuesday stitch time. Grab your hook and yarn. We're making something cozy, cute and warm. New stitch, new trick, let's learn today. Easy steps, I'll guide the way. Whether you're new or stitching pro, come along, let's hook and go.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Pseudo's Crochet More. This is your host Crystal. Today is a stitch tutorial since it's Tuesday. This is the V's and Puff stitch, or also known as the zigzag stitch or backwards. You might have seen it both ways. I don't know. I'm just talking over. This is a 4-row repeat. It's not very hard. And the yarn that I'm showing here is from Hobby Lobby. I'll show you the label here in a second. I did not realize while I was recording this that my audio input needed to be reset. So here's the yarn. It's Crafter's Secret, which is 100% cotton. I got it on clearance. It's been a few years since I had this one. So I wanted to see how it looked up in a variegated yarn. That's more variegated because it's very short color changes. I talk about that. Yeah, so let me see what else I can talk about while you see the label here. The sprinkles color 2. You need a yarn needle, darning needle, crochet hook, scissors, couple stitch markers if you're new to crochet or you have a hard time finding your turning chain. So you definitely want to make sure that you have that. I do kind of tell you how you can find your turning chain if you opt not to use a stitch marker, or if you don't have stitch markers to use. It did come out kind of uneven because of the different ways that rows are started and ended. And I did my best to try to keep it even. You could use a border or block it to help get the edges straighter. Either way would work. I'm talking about how that row ended with 2 double crochets. And then there's some that just start with a chain, either 3 or 2. The colors that I'm using are going to be using for the tutorial are underneath, which are the pink and that blue. Well, I call it fuchsia. I don't even know. It's a loops and threads yarn. Again, I'm really not sure what I'm saying at this point, and I really didn't want to have to re-record it. So I'm going to do my best to tell you everything that's going on in the video. You will hear in the next segment, once I realize that it wasn't recording, that it will be right on with the track. So I'm using a J10 or a 6mm crochet hook. I used a 5.5mm crochet hook for the cotton yarn. They both come out a little different. It just depends on how you want your stitches to look. Do you want them to be open, lacy, or do you want them to be nice and tight? And it's all in your preference too. There's no set, right now there's no set crochet hook size that you have to use. It's whatever you prefer with the yarn that you're using for the project. Now, I'm going over the Nice Met. You can purchase those individually if you want to try them. They are my go-to crochet hook right now. You can buy them as a set or individually. I will link them in the description box below if you want to try them out. I know that Jennifer from Cinnamon Stitches loves these hooks. She has the full metal set and a couple of these ones and another set that has the pearlized, she calls them her wand crochet hooks. They're metal at the top and plastic pearlized at the bottom, like an iridescent pearl. Like they're white, but they have an iridescent look to them too. But yeah, this is an easy, it may be sounding intimidating that it's a 4-row repeat, but it's not that hard. I'm counting how many rows I did, and I do believe it was 15 rows to complete this. And I did measure it, which you'll see here shortly. I'm gonna get a drink of my Dr. Pepper. I'm just hoping that I can get this done before my husband gets home. Because he went out for work today and it was kind of a wash. So he is, yeah, coming back home. So I'm looking for my tape measure at this point, I do believe. Yep, my tape measure. So I said it was about 8.5 width, and I think it was very close to 8.5 the height as well, or just about 8. Yeah, it was about 8.5-ish. Like I said, it's very hard to, and I don't know, some stitches are harder, I think, to keep even at the ends than other patterns. This was one of them I thought was kind of odd on how it end, you know, how the ends worked out. And I didn't change anything with my tension. So, and I prefer inline hooks because it does help with tension. It doesn't fix tension, but it does help with it. And I'm talking about the colors that I'm using. I do believe the blue was aqua, and it was from the really big skeins of the Crafter's Secret, or whatever Crafters they call that for the big ones for the acrylic. And then the pink was Loops and Threads. I want to say fuchsia. I think I got it from Ollie's when it was on discount. Now, this is a stitch multiple of 2 plus 3. I stitched up 25, so 22 plus the 3 to equal 25. And I'm counting as I'm counting. Counting as I'm chaining up. And I really don't like that my camera that looks down is actually very hard to keep. It doesn't keep focus well. I have to stop for it to focus again. But yeah, hearsay, there say. And I'm sorry if this video is a little bit long. Again, it is a 4-row repeat, and I did one more start of the repeat rows. So you guys can see how it lines up when you start the repeat rows, which are rows 2 through 5. And there I show you I think I let it, yeah, I let it focus, I think. I can't remember. Again, I'm sorry that this is a voiceover. I'm talking about marking your turning chain, which is the one right below the one on the hook, so I do mark that. I do show you how to mark it, and I also show you how to find it if you do not use a stitch marker. So, because stitch markers can be kind of clunky if they're too big, and if they're too small, they're harder to get around the yarn. So you skip the first 2 chains, and then you half double crochet into the 3rd chain. That chain 2 that you skipped does count, and I got to focus. Count as your first half double crochet. And then you skip a chain, skip one, and then go into the next one. And do a half double crochet. I counted the loops. There's 3 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and pull through all 3. Then you chain 1, yarn over, and insert your hook into that same chain to pull up another loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. And that is the repeat all the way down to the last 2 stitches.
You want to there? Or not?
I've got my microphone on. Sorry, my daughter was scratching at the door and I went to go open it real quick. And I just keep telling you, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into the same space, skip a stitch, or skip a chain, stitch, chain. Everybody calls it something. I mean, it is a chain because it's not really a stitch, but all the way down to the last 2 stitches. And I don't cut out of this. I mean, it's not that long of a chain, so I stay here. But if you didn't chain up 25, you chained less, you can skip to the end and watch how to finish the row for row 1. Row 1 is the wrong side. So, we're getting ready for my mother-in-law's son to come visit. My yarn was not being very cooperative with me. My microphone apparently wasn't being very cooperative with me. So you do a half double crochet V-stitch, skip a chain, then another half double crochet V-stitch into the next chain. And I will add the steps up in the corner. So if you cannot see this very well, I try to slow down so you can see exactly what I'm doing. But for whatever reason, like I said, the camera does not like when I go too fast. And if I go too slow, I feel like I'm taking too long. So if you want me to go slow, that I'll be happy to do that. Just let me know in the comment section. Would you rather have it to where I do it normal speed and let it, do its thing? Or do you want me to go slower so you guys can actually see it a little bit better without waiting for it to focus properly? I don't mind either way. Again, like I said, I will try to put the steps in the upper corner, whether it's right or left, I'm not sure just yet, but I will try to put them in there for you after I get the voiceover done here for you. Yeah, I kept had to unwind my yarn. I had it wrapped on the outside because that's how this one wound up being. I couldn't pull from the center. I don't mind this yarn, but it can become very splitty in certain spots, but it's not that bad of yarn. And again, do not forget to chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, all into the same chains or space. I'm telling you to skip the next one. And then half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into the next one. I've been working on the Mary Maxim blanket. In tomorrow's video, I'll tell you that I lost some skeins for it, but I actually found them, so if you're watching this, you'll know that I already found those missing skeins of yarn. I knew I had more somewhere, and I moved something next to my couch, and it was right there. So I was like, oh, thank God, because I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be the size it's supposed to be. But it wound up being right, so. Well, I found the extra ones that I thought I lost or used up and forgot that I used it, so. And I think sometimes the metal crochet hooks actually make it worse sometimes for tutorials. I could be wrong. I had all the lights on in my room where I do the recordings for this at. I had my side light on, my light was my camera on, and the light that's in the actual room itself on. So if it's not, the lighting is off, I don't know what else I can tell you guys. I don't know how much more light I can get in, and there's even light coming in from outside, from the window. So, all right. So we're down to the last 3 stitches to use, because we're going to skip that next one and go into that one there to make another the last half double crochet V-stitch. And then I'll show you what to do in the last stitch. Again, see, it got blurry, and I don't get that. And I kept looking up at what was being recorded so I could kind of like stop for a couple seconds, let it focus. So in the last chain or space, chain, you're going to want to do 2 half double crochet. Now I cut my yarn here, mistaken. And then I had to go back to my notes real quick. And then I found out, oh, that's right. I needed to do 2 half double crochets. I fix it. You'll see I fix it. Now I did change colors every row. You do not have to. If you don't want to change colors and you're using one specific color, or you're going to change it every 2 rows, you'll want to chain 3 and then turn your work for row 2. Row 2 is the right side. Now, I did tell you, now of course it didn't record it, but there was 10, take that back, 10 half double crochets, and then 2 half double crochet V-stitches, and then the 2 double crochets at the start and end of the row. So that's how that worked up. And now this is where I figured out that I was supposed to actually do 2 half double crochets into that same chain. So I go back, and I actually had just enough of my tail to do that half double crochet. If it was a full double crochet, I probably wouldn't have had enough. But it was only a half, so my yarn was definitely trying to get away from me, but it worked. So, I mean, everybody makes mistakes. So I did fix that. So it's 2 half double crochets into the last chain for row 1. And then you'll see here in just a second on how to work row 2. And I was trying to let that focus. See, every time I move my fingers, it was like, and you can tell that there's sunlight on my hands too. I'm talking about the turning chain and marking that stitch. And what you need to do with the chain, if you're not going to change colors, you do not have to fasten off. If you're changing colors, fasten off, or for the last half double crochet stitch, change colors. It's all on how you prefer to change colors. I prefer it this way. It does get a little tedious with all the ends, but I'd rather have those and then my stitches look weird because I changed color on the last stitch. And this yarn was not being cooperative with me. It was splitting. And I love these 2 colors together. I really do. I know I don't have enough to make a full-size, like, blanket. Maybe a scarf, maybe a wrap, but definitely not a blanket. Okay, so you chain 3 for row 2. If you're using the stitch markers, make sure you mark that loop right below the one on the hook so you know where your turning chain is at. And I get my little purple heart stitch marker. And do the best I can with it, because it is a smaller stitch marker, so I think that stitch marker might be better for thinner yarns. These are 4-weight yarns. And then you do one more double crochet into the first stitch. That counts as 2 double crochets. The chain 3 counts as your first, and then the next one counts as your second one. And then you chain 1. And then you skip over to the first chain 1 space for your double crochet, half double crochet V-stitches, and you do 3 double crochet together into that same chain 1 space. I'm going to show you that to you here. I think I go slow enough so you can see how to do that, but I will talk you through it as well. This is the right side of your whatever you're making. This is the right side. Your even rows are your right side. or I should say your puff stitch rows. So you yarn over, insert your hook into that space, that chain 1 space, yarn over and pull through 2. Then yarn over and go into that same chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We've just did it twice. We need to do it one more time. So yarn over, insert your hook into that same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. And then chain 1. And that is the repeat until the very end, till your last half double crochet V-stitch. And then I'll show you how to end the row. Again, you can fast forward to the end if you want to. You don't have to watch this whole entire thing because I do the whole row instead of cutting it and just meeting back up at the end of the row. Now I do that for blanket patterns, or bigger patterns, but for this is a short pattern, so I'm not. And I think my husband's home, and he can't come in here because I'm still working on this. Oh well. So we're into the next chain 1 space. I just did the first part of the double crochet. I'm working on the second one. Just did that one. Now you have to do one more. Yarn over. I'm counting how many loops I have. Yarn over, pull through 2. I have 4. If you have less than 4, you don't have the right amount of stitches. If you have more than 4, you have too many. Chain 1. Yarn over and go into the next chain 1 space of the half double crochet V-stitch to do another 3 double crochet together. Or double crochet 3 together. I like 3 double crochet together. I don't know why, but I just do. And you're probably hearing a clicking sound. That's the fan in my office. And I can't have it. It can't be in here without that on. It was like 91 degrees outside earlier today. I don't know how hot it got since then. And we're going to the next one. Make sure that you chain 1 in between your 3 double crochet togethers, because you will be working into that space on the next row. See, this is me going slow. The camera's picking up nicely, and I double count my loops, yarn over, and go through all 4 loops. Chain 1. And I show you how it's looking. I had my blue yarn to the right of me instead of to the left of me, so I kind of got caught up on my arm when I was trying to crochet. That's why I have to stop every so often and pull it out of the way. See, I don't know. It just... And we got 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 4. Again, you don't have to keep watching this. If you got the hang of it, you can skip down to the end of the row. Row 2 starts the repeat row. Repeat rows, I should say. I'm going into the next chain 1 space. To do the next 3 double crochets together. I'm just double counting and talking about probably about if you have too many loops or not enough. You either have too many there or too few. I probably would have had this row done already, but that yarn just kept getting in my way. Next time I use it, I'll pull it off to the left side of me so it doesn't get tangled up on stuff. I mentioned this later in the video, but I will try to, and I mentioned it a few minutes ago, but I will try to put the written instructions in one of the corners. It could be top corner, bottom corner. I'm not totally sure just yet, but I will try to get that added to this as well. Just working up the puff stitches and talking, but apparently that didn't even get recorded, so yay me. I've done this before and then uploaded videos without any audio, and then I'm like, I have to redo the whole entire thing. I'm just happy I realized before that happened. So I was able to catch it soon enough to where I could finish this video with actually recording my voice instead of doing a voiceover that I'm doing right now. Some people don't mind voiceovers, some people do, so and I think I mentioned this before. I think I mentioned it later in the video, but you can use as many different colors as you want to. You could make it a rainbow. You could make it even more you can make it fancier with as many colors as you want to use. It's suggested to use at least 2, because with it being just one color or a variegated color, you kind of lose the effect from altering where your stitches go. And here I'm talking about the stitch marker and where it's at. In this last part, after your last full puff stitch, you're going to put 2 double crochets together in the top of the into the top of the turning chain from row 1. So that's where we marked it when we first started row 1. So that's what I'm talking about right now, and making sure, showing you where the different stitches end and how to find the turning chain if you're not using stitch markers. And I do show it a little bit better later on where I use a darning needle to point out where the turning chain is at. And I think the yarn was splitting on me. That's why I was having some trouble there. Once you get your first loop your yarn pulled through for your first part, it's not that bad to get it back through there. Sometimes that turning chain can be tight. You can make a looser turning chain if you want to, but you want to make sure that you do that for every row so it doesn't look out of place. And you only want 3 loops on this one because it's the last stitch. It's only 2 double crochet together. Now, if you're changing colors, you'll fasten off like I'm doing. If you're not changing colors, you're going to chain 2. And then turn your work. This is row 3. I was trying to hide my tail as I was working, but I'm attaching the fuchsia color back on. I'm going into the top of the 2 double crochets together. And then I chain 2. And I do mark this stitch, the turning chain for this one. That does count as the first half double crochet. We're going to skip the first stitch. You're going to go into the first chain 1 space to put a half double crochet V-stitch. So you're alternating on where your half double crochet V-stitches will be for this row. The stitch marker was getting in my way. As you can see, I kept trying to pull it out to the side. So you yarn over, insert your hook into that chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. Chain 1, go back into that same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. And that's the repeat for row 3. You're putting half double crochet V-stitches into the chain 1 spaces, which are in between your puff stitches. And then I'll meet you down at the other end. You can fast forward or stay here with me while I work this entire row. And I'll show you how to finish the row 3. I will be working on a pattern probably not until August, maybe September, probably August, maybe August, for my strawberry chocolate covered strawberries. Yeah, I can talk. Pattern. And there is no chaining between your half double crochet V-stitches, only the chain to make your V-stitch. That's it. So there is nothing between V-stitches. So, like there is with the puff stitch. I don't know what I was saying there. I wish I knew. Could rewind, go back in the past, and know exactly what I was saying. That'll teach me. I had an update on my computer, and every time I have an update and restart, and I start my program for recording videos, I use OBS, I always have to remove and reinstall the audio. And normally the main camera that I use, I had, because I wasn't using that one, I didn't have to do that, but I will have to redo that before I go to try to record another video facing me, because it won't record anything because it has to be reset. Oh, and actually I think I might have taken it. No, I know what happened. I took it, I had to take it off because I needed to, I took a screenshot for tomorrow's thumbnail, and I can't use the program, the camera in two different programs, so I had to remove it from the one. So I had to just put it back on there. I had to add it back to it. So I'm showing you again the V-stitch, on how to make the V-stitch. But if you know how to make the half double crochet V-stitch, which I did recently do a tutorial on, this one is just a little different with the spacing for it. And that's because you're also adding puff stitches to the pattern as well. I'm unwinding my yarn. Yarn, yarn, yarn. Yeah, if you hear that clicky, 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 I'm sorry. That's just how unfortunately, how my ceiling fan sounds. We're getting down to close to the end of the row here. Looking pretty good. Looking good, looking good. It doesn't have a whole lot of holes in it, as I don't like blankets with like too big of holes. If they're small, they don't bother me so much, but when they're big, I can't deal with it. But it doesn't wind up being too bad. As it's sitting on my desk right this second, it's actually a lot smaller with that, as opposed to what you're seeing in the video. So, all right, I'm working on the last half double crochet V-stitch. And then I'll show you how to end this row and start row 4, which is where I realized that my voice wasn't getting picked up. Okay, so I go over, so this row started with 1/2 double crochet. So the end of the row is going to end with 1/2 double crochet into the top of the turning chain. So I'm talking about that here. Now remove my stitch marker and place 1/2 double crochet into the top of the turning chain. Now, for row 4, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Let me finish the half double crochet here. Okay, so half double crochet ends the row. Now, if you're changing colors like I am, even if it's just 2 colors, go ahead and fasten off. If you're staying with the same color, you're going to chain 3 and then turn your work. Now I'm going to get my blue back out. That's my tail that I was trying to hide. Because we're on the right side facing. So I'll figure out how to get that hidden a little bit better. I'm telling you how I do my slip knot. It's something that I learned from Jennifer from Cinnamon Stitches, and I know I relate to her stuff a lot, but I did learn some stuff from her, as well as other content providers for crochet channels. And some things stuck with me a lot longer than other things, but at least I was able to learn from them, so that's the important thing. I used the ribbon method where I put the tail under the working yarn, and then I put my finger through or my hook through the hole, and then I pull the working yarn through that hole to make a slip knot. Now, if you were doing a magic circle, it would be a little bit different. Okay, so I chained 3, and then we're going to skip the first stitch. So we're not going to do anything else in that stitch, just the chain 3. Now that did count as the first double crochet. Now we're going to skip over to the V-stitch and do the 3 double crochets together in that chain 1 space. That is the repeat all the way down to the last half double crochet V-stitch. I go over making the puff stitch again. So you yarn over, insert your hook into that chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. And you do that 3 times. You should have 4 loops on your hook when you're done. And then you yarn over and pull through all 4 loops and then chain 1. And then go to the next V-stitch and repeat. Now, I do talk about doing that through the whole row here. And I get only a little bit further before I realized that the microphone wasn't working. It's coming up. Yeah, don't forget to chain 1 in between your puff stitches because you won't have a space for your half double crochet V-stitch on your next row if you forget that. And if you forget it, it's going to be a tighter section for that half double crochet V-stitch. I'm trying to hide the tail as I'm working over top of it. Again, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you're changing colors, you can leave it out. Weave it in later. I like to do that while I'm working the row because then that's less that I have to weave in. But you don't have, you can just let it go. Talking about going into that chain 1 space. And again, if you have 4 loops on your hook after that last one, then you have the right amount. If you have less than that, you either need to do 1 more or 2 more. And if you have more than that, then you've done too many double crochets together. And I think that's what I'm done with this one. I'm getting close to figuring out that I didn't have a voice recording. Yep, there it goes. I finally figured it out. Or I was pulling that and then realized it wasn't recording. One of the two. I was getting more blue yarn here. Yeah. And then okay, so you probably heard some voiceover for the first part till I realized that my voice was not actually recording during this, and I really don't have the patience right now to redo the whole video. So we are on row 4, where we do puff stitches that stagger, where we just did the half double crochet V-stitch. I'm going to do my best to voice over that recording, and go from there with it. So yeah, lovely. All right, so I just did a chain 1. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to find the next half double crochet V-stitch and insert my hook into the chain 1 space. I'm going to pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. Yarn over, go into that same chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. That's twice. We need to do that once more. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same space here, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on our hook. So we've got the right amount there. We've got 3 double crochets together. Now we're going to chain 1. We're going to find the next half double crochet V-stitch here. I yarned over, I inserted the hook, pulled up a loop. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over, insert the hook in the same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We have 3 loops. We need to do that one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook into that same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on the hook. Chain 1. Yarn over. And now we're going to find the next one here, which is right here. Yarn over, insert your hook into that chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook into that same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. You've got 3 loops on your hook. We need to do that one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook into that same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you should have 4 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over and pull through all 4. Chain 1. We're getting down to the last 3, 4 full V-stitches, and then again, I know I said this before, but apparently this wasn't even recording my voice. It was recording me crocheting, but that was it. So lovely. All right, so yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1. Yarn over, go into that same chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. One more time, yarn over, into that same chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Try to make sure this focuses. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, pull through all 4. Chain 1. Yarn over. I'm going to go into the next chain 1 space here. Pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go into that same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We have 3 loops. We got to do that one more time. Yarn over, go into that same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. chain 1. So, I don't know what all you guys missed me saying, but I really hope you're enjoying today's video. I am going to work on a blanket pattern with this. I think I finally found what I'm going to use for my chocolate covered strawberry blanket. So that's not going to be for a while yet. It's going to take some time for that to come out, but once it does, I'll share it with you guys. And you can obviously use whatever colors you'd want, excuse me, because the ones that I'm using are going to be from Big Twist, and I don't know if those colors are going to be available anywhere. I know there's companies like Michaels and Mary Maxim and Hirschner's that have some of the Big Twist lines, but I'm not sure if they have the colors that I'll be using. So, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I still am working on trying to find the perfect s'mores design. Okay, so now we're at our last V-stitch. I'm going to insert my hook into that chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, going back into that same space, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pull through 2. We just did it twice. We need one more. Yarn over, insert the hook into that space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull through all 4, yarn over, chain 1. Okay, so this one we started with a double crochet, just 1 double crochet here. This chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So the end is just going to be 1 double crochet into the top of the turning chain here. So that's why this is a 4-row repeat, because every 2 rows is different on how you start and end that row. It doesn't always start with just a chain 3. It all depends on where your half double crochets and your puff stitches line up. And you'll see that here. So there's that. Well, if my yarn was behaving, that'd be lovely. I already had my mic cause problems. Guess I should just be happy that I caught it before I was at the end of the tutorial. I mean, all right. So there's our double crochet. Now I'm going to fasten off. If you're staying with the same color, you'll go ahead and chain 2. This is the last row of the repeat. So, and I'm sorry if this is a 4-row repeat. It's rows 2 through 5 are what you're going to repeat. So the next row is going to be row 5. I just fastened off. I'm going to go ahead and turn my work. I know it's going to be a lot of tails to hide at the end, but honestly, I don't like how my stuff looks when I change color on the last stitch. But if you don't mind that, you're more than welcome to change it on the last stitch. That's all up to you. All right, so now we're going to go back to pink, fuchsia, whatever color this is. And you can also use the color changing as a guide to what row you're on. Depending on, I guess, what's facing you. Okay, so now we're going back to this one. So that means we're on a half double crochet V-stitch row. So I'm attaching my yarn here, chaining 2, 1 and 2. And then we are going to, that counts as the first half double crochet. We're going to half double crochet into the first stitch as well. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Now, we're going to skip this right next to it. We're going to go to the next one over here to put our next half double crochet V-stitch. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to insert our hook into that next chain 1 space, not the one right next to the first stitch. I'm going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 1, yarn over, and we're going to go back into that same space here, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, yarn over, go into the next chain 1 space, which should line up with your row 1. Pull up a loop, go and do your half double crochet, chain 1, yarn over, go into that same stitch, space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, and you'll repeat that all the way down to the very end, and I'll show you how to end this row. And then I'll do one more row of repeats going back to row 2 with you. So yarn over, go into the next chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, chain 1, yarn over, insert your hook back into that same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Yarn over, into the next chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, I'm trying to hide my tail here, pull through all 3 loops, chain 1. And this thing is driving me nuts. Half double crochets don't take much, but my yarn's being a pain right this moment. Okay. Then yarn over, insert your hook into that same chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. Next, chain 1 space, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. Chain 1, yarn over, go into that same chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Tongue-tied in here. Okay. Next week's going to be kind of a gamble with how many videos I can get done. Well, my step-brother-in-law, I guess you could see, because it's my husband's step-brother, is coming to visit, and they're going to be here this weekend, not leaving till, well, they're leaving Tuesday, but they'll probably be here, Monday for a little bit. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, I don't know. So next week's videos may be very sparsing with what is going to be on the channel. I might come in here and hide for a little bit to record some videos. I know that sounds bad, but he's her only kid that's still alive. She had a daughter, but she passed away a few years ago. So she only has him now. And his kids, and they're soon to be grandkids and all that stuff. So, okay, now we are at the end. We have a puff stitch and we have the chain 3 from the first double crochet of this row. We're skipping over top of this puff stitch and we're going to put 2 half double crochets into the top of the turning chain. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook to the top of that turning chain, just do the best you can. Sometimes it's hard to find that. Just try to make sure it's not into the last puff stitch from the previous row. It's got to be in that chain that's alongside of it. Okay, pulled up a loop, yarned over, pull through all 3. We're going to do that one more time. Yarn over and pull through all 3. That's row 5. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you row 6, which is just a repeat of row 2. So you'll notice that these half double crochets will either line up to the very first row, or like this next one, the V-stitches on the next V-stitch row will line up with this row, which is row 3. So it does go back and forth. It's a really cool design, but I will show you what it will look like when you go back to row 2 for the repeat. Again, it's repeat rows are 2 through 5. So this here is the back of it. Let me flip it over. This is the front, and I would suggest ending, if you're making something larger, ending it on a V-stitch row, and then if you're going to add a border to flip it, well, if you're going to, you want to end it on a V-stitch row. You started with a V-stitch row, end with a V-stitch row, and then flip the work to add your, if you're going to put a border on it. A great border, I think, would be maybe like a granny stitch or a moss stitch, something in that. Because this is almost like a moss stitch because you're going into the chain 1 spaces, which that's what you do with moss stitch. It's just a different style of it. This is, I mentioned earlier, and you wouldn't have been able to hear me, was that this pattern is called the V's and puff stitch or zigzag pattern, because you're zigging and you're zagging with your stitches. So, all right, let's go ahead and grab the blue, and we'll do this one last row of repeat. Well, it's the beginning of the repeat rows. So I'm sorry if I'm confusing you. But I'm going to go ahead and get my blue attached. And then we're going to go ahead and chain 3. So we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now, this is a replica of row 2. So, if you forget what to do for row 6, look back at row 2. So here we did the 3 and then the full double crochet into the same first stitch. So we're going to go ahead and double crochet here. And then we're going to chain 1. And then we're going to go into the next chain 1 space and do 3 double crochets together. So that's yarn over, insert your hook into that chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go into that same chain 1 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. Need to do that one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We just did the third one. So there should be 4 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on your hook. Chain 1. Now I know I kind of did that side. It looks sideways there, but it'll be okay. All right. And then we're going to go into the next one and do the same thing. All the way down to the very last chain 1 space. So I'm just going to keep going here. Oh. Well, my brain is not wanting to cooperate right this moment, apparently. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And you make sure that you do that chain 1 after every 3 double crochet together, or like at the start of this one, there's basically 2 double crochet together here and at the very end of this row as well. All right, next one. 1, 2, and one more is 3, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over and pull through all 4. Chain 1. Yarn over. Insert your hook into the next chain 1 space and do 3 more double crochet together. Tomorrow I have an unbagging from Amazon, and I will also be doing the premiere sale. Looks like a lot of people really like that when I do that on Wednesdays. I know that it doesn't come out till after it's already been on their website, but I get to it as fast as I can. All right, that's the 4. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4. See, I even have to stop sometimes and double check to make sure I'm not over or under on the puff stitch here. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't forget to do your chain 1 in between your puff stitches, because otherwise your next row will be off with your V-stitches. They kind of look like wings once you put those V-stitches, the puff stitches in between, in the middle of them. I'm trying to stay in focus here, because that's a pet peeve of mine too, is if I'm watching somebody do a tutorial, they got to be in focus. All right, that did not work out very well. There we go. Okay. Okay. Almost to the end. And again, if you're making something larger, you can come back when you're ready to end this row. Again, it will be a repeat of row 2. So if you just look back at row 2, you can see, what did I do at the end here? Oh, I did 2 half double crochets together in that top of the turning chain. And then you can look at row 4 to see how you start that row, or row 3 for the next row. If you alternate colors like I'm doing, you'll easily be able to tell what you did on that row that you'd be replicating. But if you didn't, that's okay too. You can always come back to the video or write down the instructions. I'm going to try, no promises, to add the each row's instructions in the upper corner. I will eventually get all these on my merch site for free, where you guys don't have to pay for them. You can just download them and have them in hand. Now, if it's something like I did with the electric slide, that will cost a little bit, because it did take me time to get that pattern worked up. So, just as a forewarning that not all patterns will be free. Okay. So now I just finished my last puff stitch. We're going to go into that turning chain. So I did not use a stitch marker on purpose. So this right here, let me see, let me get that pulled out a little bit. Okay, let me use my little handy dandy darning needle. So this right here is the last actual stitch. This right here, if I can get it in here, is the turning chain. So again, if you're still learning crochet and you're still trying to understand where the turning chain is, where the top of it is, I would highly suggest using a stitch marker or something to mark your turning chain. Now, before, I was using a plastic darning needle to mark that before I got my other stitch markers. You can do that too. That'll stay in there. I wouldn't suggest using the metal one like that, but you can use a plastic one if you don't have a actual stitch marker. I know some people use a string of yarn, but when it's like this, that doesn't always work very well. That works, I think, better in the round than it does in going back and forth. So I'm going to go ahead and get my hook in this top of the turning chain. And in the turning chain on row 6, it is two double crochets together. So we're going to get our hook in there, pull up a loop. It's splitting on me. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, go back into that same chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're only doing 2 together, so we're only going to have 3 on this row. So yarn over and pull through all 3. And that ends row 6. And row 7 will be a repeat of row 3. And then you'll repeat row 4 for 8. So you just want to make sure that you're looking to make sure that your ends, your start and your ends are the repeat of rows 2 through 5 after row 5. So I'm going to go ahead. I know that this looks weird because I've got all this yarn hanging out here, but it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and measure this real quick. I'm not doing any more rows. Row 7 will be a repeat of row 3. Row 8 will be a repeat of row 4, and so on. So 10 would be a repeat of row 5. Let's see here. Because now I have to... And if you need to, you can kind of stretch it out, depending on what you're I just dropped a stitch marker. Oh, well. Fabric you're using, what fiber, I should say. So this right here is about 8 inches, because I'm starting it at 1 and ended at 9. So that's 8 inches. And then this way is... just shy of 4 inches. It probably would be closer to 4 if this was blocked. But yeah, so that is it for today. Again, the first part of this video, you're going to hear me voicing over because apparently my sound wasn't working. My microphone, I had to restart my computer yesterday and I should have known better than to just start recording without double checking to make sure that it was taking my voice today. But I will work on getting that done later because I need to go help my mother-in-law with her shower. She's does okay with other things, but she does need help with stuff still. So alright, well, if you like today's video, or if you've ever used if you like today's video, please give me a thumbs up. If you've ever used this stitch, let me know in the comment section what you've made with this stitch, or if this is the first time you've heard of this stitch. And if you'd like to see it in more than just 2 colors. Yeah, because I think at least 2 colors makes the puff stitches pop. You can see the V stitches a lot better, because this is what it looked like I showed you at the beginning. This is what it looked like doing it variegated style, and see, I ended it on V stitches. So, and then I flipped it over. But this is big. This is big. I don't even know what I'm going to use it for. It is 100% cotton, so it's not like I have to. Yeah, I could do that. That would make a nice little hot pad. I learned from Jennifer from Cinnamon Stitches this morning about how to make a double thick hot pad, and she was talking about doing it around in the round, but this was basically what she was talking about. You do it, and then you take the corners and you fold them in like this, and then you seam it up, and then you have a double. It's a nice thickness for a pot holder, and it looks like you crochet diagonally with it instead of going back and forth. So that's kind of cool. But otherwise, yeah, if you like today's video, like I said, give me a thumbs up. If you enjoy my content and haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe and then the notification bell so you're always aware of when I put out new content. Until next time, I hope you all stay safe, stay warm or cool, and happy crocheting. Bye-bye.